Hello, and we say a fantastic day to you at this moment of your time. We are the Pleiadian Council, and we speak on behalf of a galactic alliance supporting your world in a process that many of you call your collective ascension. It is a gift, it is a blessing, it is an honor to be able to connect with you at this day of your time. We do so as it is supporting this process on your planet, and as your planet grows in an interconnected universe, it supports us as well. We also learn and grow from the reflections that we see in you as a mirror, in the same way that you might learn and grow from what we share with you. We are a collective consciousness, though the being that is speaking through the channel now is a singular being that lives in connection with a telepathic collective consciousness. That is why we will always use the word we to refer to us. And yes, it is a gift to be able to speak with you. We have observed your world and continue to do so. We come through other channels and we present ourselves to many beings in your world to co-create and to learn from you and to help you in this process. We ourselves have gone through a similar process in our own evolutionary journey, and that is why we are able to guide you as you learn and grow through some lessons that are similar to what we have learned. From our vantage point in a higher dimension, we are able to look at a distance, seeing different details and different nuance that can offer some insight into your world. We thank you once again. Our main message that we share with all of you is about awakening the power of the love that is within you. That is your purpose here. The Source, as some of you call it God, created this particular universe and all beings within it with the intention of unconditional love. And this is one universe that was created in a multiverse. All of these different universes were created for different purposes. This particular universe is about exploring that concept of unconditional love. And that is why it is a universe of free will, as this free will for you to choose, for you to determine, for you to align with the reality that you wish to experience with your conscious vibration is a gift. It is a gift of unconditional love. And this core of unconditional love is at the heart of all experiences. In this realm, of course, you go through contrasting experiences, yet the contrast is there for you to learn and to experience growth through lessons. Source created all of these different realms so that the Source could know itself through all the beings in the universe. You are Source getting to know itself. And all of the experiences that humans have are a way of Source to get to know itself. And therefore, being who you are is the ultimate spiritual path and the truest purpose of your incarnation. The clearest way to be yourself and therefore connect deepest with Source consciously, we share as this formula with you that is to act upon your highest excitement to the best of your ability without insisting on any particular outcome. Acting on your excitement means allowing your heart to be magnetically drawn to whatever it is fills you with the greatest feeling of love passion, joy, enthusiasm, all of these encompass that energy we describe as excitement. To do it to the best of your ability means that you commit fully to that which your heart is calling you to. You put all of your best energy into it, and you use all of your inner and outer resources to do, yes, your best. And finally, you let go of all insistence on a particular outcome. You let go of your attachment to what you think needs to happen, and you accept that this energy of excitement and love is the higher intelligence of the universe. It is a message from your own higher self that does not steer you in the wrong direction. And there's always a purpose to what you are experiencing. When you surrender in this way and you let go of what you thought was supposed to happen and return again onto letting your heart guide you in the now moment without any attachment to expectations that you previously generated, you let go of all resistance and you allow for this energy of excitement to continue to propel you forwards. Everything in your life can be figured out from this formula alone. And we share this with all of you as the foundation for how we can best support you. But of course, we can support you with any questions that you may have about your experience, about anything, ultimately. We are very excited to share with you in this way. So, whenever you would like to share a question or a comment or an inquiry or any sort of musing, we may begin.
Thank you for sharing in this form.
Oh, yes.
It's resonating a lot with me. I guess I'm going to repeat what I heard. A part of it was following your highest excitement to the best of your ability without any expectation of what will come from that.
Yes. Well, the expectation is okay, but it's your attachment to the expectation. Expectation can amplify your excitement, and it can also help you focus on what you specifically want to do and how you can best do it. But what gets in your way is your attachment to said expectations. So consider that your expectations are like supporting you in aiming, but that's all that they're meant to do. They're there to help you find the path, and when you get to any given point on the path, there might be a crossroads that diverges that is ultimately the path that you were intuitively guided towards. And those initial expectations need to be let go at that point for you to navigate onto the new path. So, expectations are an energy that generates a propelling motion and allows you to focus, but your attachment to them is essentially gripping onto the past and taking you out of the presence and out of that intuitive, natural allowing of what is in this moment and what is guiding you to the next now moment.
That makes a lot of sense. It's very clarifying that
yes.
Like you can have an expectation, but just not letting that expectation overtake what's actually happening.
Yes.
At some point. I actually have a question that... Thank thank you. I feel grateful to receive this message among other messages. And I also find it funny that this is something that has come up in these different places. And I'm also reminded now of this Shiva creating the universe as an emission.
Yes.
And
It is the creation of life, the sexual act, and all components of it. Though there is a fear of losing control and losing power that many on this path of yoga and healing have, that enhances their belief system in withholding that energy.
Yeah, I can definitely feel this fear of losing control and sense it in the collective consciousness surrounding this too.
Well, it's your entire world that's based upon this. You are control freaks by your very nature. You are trained to be control freaks and manage every little thing that happens. But this is working to your disadvantage because you are so often not in the moment, and your fears and attachments cause your energy and your nervous system to become vastly destabilized. It is also the root of most of your conflicts. Control.
It's coming up for me that I also see carelessness as something that feels prevalent in our collective. And it doesn't, I don't know if that's the opposite of control, but it's coming up for me.
Carelessness in what sense? Carelessness.
Like people throwing litter, people buying things without thinking about where it comes from. People just sort of becoming very focused on only their small bubble of what's happening and not looking outwards.
Yes. That is directly related to the individualistic nature that is a level of consciousness where your world is at. You eventually will come to evolve beyond this as a planet. You can consider at the level of the chakras that it relates to living predominated by the third chakra, whereas the more enlightened society will live guided by the heart chakra, with the conscious predominant at this level. Because at this level you consider others, you consider the whole, you consider connection and relationship to be paramount. But living as an individual with your focus only on yourself, to throw away trash, to pollute, to cause harm to others, doesn't ultimately matter. It actually does connect with control more than you think, because if one has everything in their own life in control, it doesn't really matter how one affects others.
Yeah, I see that. That's sort of like the tech billionaire archetype buying a bunker where they can be safe, but kind of unconcerned about what happens to anyone else.
Yes.
Are there many other beings from other realms who have similar relationships to your council, to us, that communicate through channels? And do you have relationships with them?
Beings who communicate with you?
Yeah, like with
Yes.
humans. Yeah.
Yes, there are Arcturian beings, Syrian beings, and hybrid beings that communicate with your world and are observing and in a relationship with humans. There are also quite a few other species that are more in the background and not playing such a leading role in the open contact timelines. And we also travel to other worlds to meet different beings and communicate in various ways.
Do you mind me just asking about whatever?
Yes, you may ask about
I guess
anything.
Yeah. That's so. Why have you chosen this particular interest in humans?
Well, your world has been involved with many extraterrestrial groups for some millions of years. And this contact over time has brought you to our awareness. We want the best for all beings out there, though because we have also some levels of genetic ties and a shared history, then it is more relevant for us to explore your world and connect with you. And there has been an increase in attention to your world since the development and deployment of nuclear power and bombs, as this causes levels of destruction that can affect other planets in this galaxy. And should there be escalations of the use of such weapons, it would affect many other groups. And for some time, there was a sort of quarantine that was an agreement made that we do not interfere with humans. But these nuclear events ended that quarantine, and because of the potential for a greater impact on the intergalactic community, we became more available to view, observe, and interact with your world.
I see. I noticed that when I was drawn to come here today, I have felt this recurring curiosity towards like aliens or other dimensional beings and communicating with them.
Yes.
And at the same time, I felt some hesitation around it.
Yes.
But actually, a lot of the hesitation was that it was beyond some line that I could share with a lot of people in my life.
Yes.
And yeah, I wondered if you had anything to share about that. Like, there's many things I'm interested in that there's sort of some way I can have my own experience and also share it with people in a way that, oh, they might be like, you know, you're into this in a different way than I am, but there's some mutual understanding. But then I also sense at different points these like thresholds where it's sort of beyond that. And I don't know if that's like a fear or just something to let go of, but yeah, it's something I feel.
You have an awareness, yes, that there's an energy here that many people may fear, that many people will not resonate with, and will express great skepticism towards, and that is all right. you don't have to share everything that you like with everyone else. Just as when you're spending time with a particular person, you don't need to listen to a song that they don't like at all and bothers them. It's a frequency that perhaps they're not ready for, and it isn't for you to judge or to force, and it will not cause any disturbance in those relationships unless you bring it up and bring it into the realm of connection with others in a way that feels forceful for them. More and more people gradually will start to open to the idea of channeling when they start to see that it isn't all that different than what they do consider a spiritual sort of experience. And there are some that you might find are more open when you frame things a bit differently. Because ultimately, we are not that different, and all of you have the power to meet your own interdimensional guides. So we would say if somebody believes they can communicate with a spirit animal, there's no difference in meeting a starseed or extraterrestrial guide. It is the same form of communication. Yet, because it is beyond the earth plane that you know, you somehow consider it different, but it is really not.
Also making me, I'm thinking about how sometimes I feel like when people are just speaking in a quote-unquote ordinary way, that they're also channeling, or like, what even is a personality? Like,
it's a channeled entity, really. You are all channeling yourselves. As you are allowing for this construct of a personality to operate through you. This personality exists in many dimensions and is built over time because it is an entity that is beyond the confines of the present moment and encompasses all times and spaces, yet is constantly shifting. You are essentially channeling this personality, and all of you experience moments of entering into channeling states when you process in a sort of what you might call higher cognition, when information just comes to you, when ideas simply arise for you. That is a form of channeling. And it connects very much with what we speak about when we say following your excitement, following your passion, as it is that energy of excitement and enthusiasm for what you're doing that allows you to be so focused upon something that this spontaneous insight can arise for you.
it's very beautiful when I find I listen to something very naturally because there's this excitement, and I can feel this in this moment, which is very sweet.
That resonance guides you to be connected with whatever you need to connect with.
you have any thoughts about Mazunte? Things that are needed here.
Well, our initial thoughts is that it is a very energetic place. The energy vortexes here create a place that accelerates opening, that accelerates one's connection to multidimensional energies. And it is also a grounding place near to the sea. What might be needed here is the same that's needed in all of your world, is more collaboration, more coming together of community leaders in a harmonious way. Ultimately, this place is serving a very positive purpose for those who come here, though to protect this place might be quite helpful as well, to appreciate it and celebrate it for what it is, and make sure that it doesn't become just another tourist spot.
I feel it's I was here 6 years ago for the first time, and it's changed a lot, but I still feel like it has a lot of the same energy and character. So it makes me feel optimistic that it could continue to grow, but maintain some of that openness, that accelerating of energies towards
Yes.
multidimensional energies.
As a natural energy vortex, that component will never go away. The essence of this place will not change, though it will continue to develop in many ways that might reflect the developments in your world.
Before I was coming here today, I was imagining that beings from another realm might enjoy the same kirtan, and I was wondering if that's true.
Yes. Everyone has their own personal guides, and more times than you realize, there is a connection taking place between you and these guides who come to experience the different energies that you experience throughout your lives. They come to experience the energies that resonate with them. In other words, there are beings that resonate with your negative experiences as much as there are beings that resonate with your positive experiences. So when you come into places of higher frequency energy and vibration, the guides that are at that level will also participate with you in the experience and show up, so to speak. So at kirtan or any such event, there are all sorts of beings that are participating.
So when you were saying the beings would resonate with the more negative aspects too, so you're sort of saying like you'll find guides who have some particular resonance with what you've experienced?
Yes. Also, what we mean when we say that is that your guides can be akin to what you might consider a past life. And so the negative experiences you have in this lifetime are vibrationally connected with negative experiences from other lifetimes. So when you are experiencing painful emotions, there's a resonance between you and other versions of your soul that had similar negative experiences. And they're participating, they're co-creating with you in that moment.
I feel like asking one more practical, mundane question.
All right.
I've been working in the kitchen at Hridaya, doing like karma yoga, and I'm kind of just like a fruit chopper most of the time, cleaning, chopping fruit. But I find a lot of the other people have different things that they like tell me to do. Sometimes it's like, chop the papaya smaller or bigger, or, serve 2 watermelons or 1 watermelon. And I find myself a bit triggered by this at different points. And sometimes I'm having compassion towards just everyone expressing their devotion in different ways and being very particular about things as their form of expression of devotion. And then other times I'm like, just mind your own business, if you want to chop it this way, or feeling like people don't see that their vision of how it should be is not the only vision of how one could make breakfast. Something I'm working with.
Well, do you see their unconscious desire for power in their request?
I do think that could be there. Sometimes it's just an expression of,
I want it my way.
yeah,
I want to be able to tell you what to do because that makes me feel more significant.
yes, I do sense this actually. Because now that you say it, I don't mind it when my official boss does it. Because actually from him, I don't detect a sense of this like wanting more power, because he's just doing his job.
Yes.
But when the other people do it, I think, yeah, maybe it is this.
But if you become conscious of it, does it still trigger you?
So to know that they just want to feel significant.
Yes.
And to sort of allow that.
And the fact that they want to feel significant means that they're doing this because they feel insignificant.
That feels very insightful.
This is the reason why many people do all sorts of different things and delegating and telling people others. They want to feel significant. They want to feel their power. They want to feel appreciated. They want to feel, go back to what we were saying earlier, in control. And if you can ignore their ego's pettiness, then you will flow much more with the things that are relevant for you. Because it isn't relevant for you to get entangled with somebody who doesn't feel personally significant or powerful over small things like the kitchen details. If you want, you can simply say, thank you for the feedback, I'm going to do it my way, and ignore them. And if you do this, you will have to understand that this simple thing might be very triggering for them. And they will get the mere reflection of the fact that they do feel powerless or insignificant. But do you want to hold space for that? Do you want to bring that energy into this? Or another option is to say, okay, got it, and do it whatever way you wish to do it.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah, there's not really so much actual power there. It's just a request, really.
Yes.
It was interesting too. I felt like I heard so much of it though. There was some part of me that wondered if I should be more particular about how we serve. But I still don't think so. There's this part of me that's like, it's really fine. Everyone's at this yoga center. They're gonna get food. They're not really that concerned about the size of the papaya. But that was some inner thing that I was experiencing too.
No one is really that concerned with the size of the papaya. It's true. Except the person who's telling you that it needs to be different than what it is. The person who has the papaya already on their plate is not thinking about what happened in the kitchen so much. They're thinking about eating it.
Yeah, that's very true. This is very beautiful, and it's also just, it's such a mess out here with so many people. It makes me feel compassion towards all the different workplaces and different karmas people are getting entangled in that
Yes.
very difficult. Because this is a pretty mild thing I'm experiencing. It could be way worse.
And that is quite true. There's all sorts of levels of experience on your planet.
Wow. Just had a beautiful vision. The other day I was on the terrace at Hridaya looking at the ocean, and I saw these crows really far away, and I had this thought, wow, it's amazing how clear my vision is. That like from the right vantage point I can like see this such a small detail so far away. And then I had this sort of thought, I wonder if there's sort of like more multi-dimensional vantage points from which you can like see this clearly into like beyond like, you know, physical seeing, but like into the nature of things. And this idea of speaking with you sort of, it makes me think of that, like this sort of external perspective from which you can like see more clearly.
Yes. You all have that power to tune into your own multidimensional self and energies. The crow is an accurate symbol, as often the crow represents the messenger who speaks between the realms. Anything more you would like to share or ask?
Yeah, if you still have energy.
All right. Yes.
I am thinking about having many different relationships, like with friends and romantically, and how to navigate like being pulled in different directions, or how to have a more harmonious flowing feeling towards that. Like there's some feeling of tension around figuring out how to spend my time or who to spend time with, and yeah, I guess I'm looking for some guidance on that. Even when earlier we were doing the visualization, something that came to me is what would it feel like to flow more freely, to not have tension in terms of growing and continuing different relationships with people.
You're basing how the relationships will unfold on your past experience in relationships, which have been based upon your societal constructs of relationships that often come with great expectations and a mutual attachment to these expectations. But it doesn't have to be that way. In order for it to be a different way, you have to set your intentions and set clear ground rules of how to relate and how to communicate. If you set the intention for a relationship to be with no strings attached and no conditions, to be a living experiment for unconditional love, then that will be what you agree to, and you will feel no pressure for it to be any different. If you allow yourself to declare a certain type of mode of relating with yourself as if you are on your own solo journey, like you all essentially are, then these ways of relating and sharing intimacy will be in addition to that primary relationship. And this is very counter to how so many of you choose to relate and mimic the collective consensus of relating that involves so much attachment and places the relationship often higher than the need for individuality and spontaneity. So simply create the expectations of these relationships in a different way and communicate your own desire for freedom and for feeling free with others, and you can continue to relate in that way, certainly.
Sort of freeing up expectations from relationships.
Yes. But specifically by having the expectation of having less attachments and less rigid expectations within your relationship. It's almost paradoxical. It's involving the expectation of having less expectations of each other.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know, I guess I'm having some resistance to it. That's like,
Because it feels almost as if it isn't like love.
Not about not feeling like it's love, because I have felt loved with people where there's no pretense that we'll meet again, like because of the situation, or like
Yes.
there's no, it's just pure, and it's not,
All right.
it's not about this
All right.
duration. The resistance is that I also enjoy like seeing people again and again and watching them change and our relationship growing, and I feel like sometimes that structure like supports that, or some expectations support that, or something like that.
You can create whatever agreements make you feel like you enjoy it the most, but make sure that the agreements that you make are agreements that honor all of your needs, and you know how to communicate your needs and desires. So be more open to creating a model that is different from what you've experienced in the past and is different than what many other people choose. We're not saying how it has to look specifically.
But that I'm somehow, inheriting these societal constructs of, or previous constructs of what the relationship is, that are somehow making it feel tense or
To what extent do you want those constructs? You
Yeah.
decide.
Okay, I think I've got one more. This one's not practical at all, but I'm curious.
All right.
I've been thinking about whether math can work different in different realms. And there's some part of me that's like, sure it can. Swatantria, like the divine has absolute freedom to do whatever it wants.
In other universes, it is possible for math to work differently, because in other universes there are often different laws of physics. In this particular universe, meaning on our planets as well, math works the same as it works on your planet.
Yeah, because I almost feel like my mind can't conceive of, like I can conceive, I think I can almost convince myself, okay, so here's like a more concrete example. You know, like 2 + 2 = 4. That's very hard to imagine it being different. There might be some like really complicated thing which I could imagine being different, but then I can't actually imagine, like, I feel like if 2 + 2 = 4, then that other complicated thing has to be the same too. And
well, that's because that is a fact. Math is a sort of fact that was discovered versus an idea that was created. Of course, there are different ideas about how to approach mathematical understandings, but they are more akin to laws of reality and nature.
do you have a personal history as part of a collective consciousness, or how much do you feel a sense of individuality?
I feel a sense of personhood, you could say, but it isn't as much individuality because our lives are so much defined by our interactions with the collective that we do not see that we have lived an individual life in the same way that you might.
Do you have a personal name?
A name?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Beautiful.
No, we do not use language anymore in our realm.
Ah, okay. So, and then when you interact with our realm, you always interact as the council.
Through this particular channel at this particular time, yes. But others choose to give names to us as a way to personify and make more relatable the energies that they are coming to meet.
Would you feel like sharing more about what's happening in Palestine and Israel? Or is that for another time?
It is an example of the same violence and destruction and brainwashing that has taken place many times before in your world. And part of this process is involving a shift so as to change the perspective of the masses on what your global history has been. This is what we can say for now.
That is a big shift to change our sense of history.
Not as in change your perspective as to what happened, but understanding more how and why it happened and who was moral and just and who was not. So we do thank you very much, and we wish you a fantastic rest of your experience and day. It has been a wondrous moment and opportunity for connection for us, and we thank you. Yes.
Thank you for speaking with me, with us.